Went out to our Layton City Council meeting tonight. I'm not on. Hello? You can hear me? Okay. Once again, I'd like to welcome everyone out to our Layton City Council meeting tonight, September 2nd. Our start time is 7:02. Just so those in the audience know that typically what we do here along with our council is we like to kind of, share the responsibilities. So each month we have a different council member be in charge of our opening ceremonies. And so this month, Council Member Dawn Fitzpatrick is in charge. So I'm going to turn the time over to her for that ceremony.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to take the opportunity and acknowledge some of our youth council and leaders that are here. And I just thought that a really good thing to do maybe so that the public could get to know who our 4 finalists are for the 2 council seats upcoming is I have asked for tonight, Bettina will offer the prayer and Tyson will offer the pledge. And then in 2 weeks, we'll hear from the other 2 candidates. So we will start the meeting first by having Tyson lead us in the pledge. All rise, please.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Will you bow your heads with me? God, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for an opportunity to come and work together as a city council, as a city of public folks who are here, God, to witness their city council and their government at work. God, we ask that you would be in the midst of everything that is said and done on tonight. We ask that you would give wisdom, that you would give discernment, God, and that you would give guidance in everything that the council puts its hands to on tonight. God, we thank you for the citizens, and we thank you for the rain that you've provided for us on tonight as well. And God, we ask that you would do all of these things in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Okay, thank you very much. That was a lovely prayer, and I appreciate that. And Tyson, thank you for leading us in the pledge. Okay, Council, we do have some minutes that we need to approve. So we have our Layton City Council work meeting for June 3rd of 2021. We have our minutes from our council work meeting of August 5th. We have a set of minutes for a special meeting that was also held on August 5th, and then our minutes from the Layton City Council meeting, August 5th. So if you've had a chance to look at those or have any corrections, please state it now. Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to adopt.
First of all, there is a correction, and I don't know if it was just misstated in the meeting itself, but it mentions that it's going to be the 25th anniversary of 9/11. It's actually only the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and that is in one of the August 5th special meeting minutes.
Which one was that? Which meeting? August 5th?
It's one of the August 5th meetings.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the minutes of Layton City Council work meeting on June 3rd, 2021, the minutes of Layton City Council work meeting August 5th, 2021, minutes of Layton City Council special meeting August 5th, 2021, and the minutes of the Layton City Council meeting August 5th, 2021.
Is there a second?
Yeah. Second it.
Okay. It's been moved in second. All in favor of adopting the minutes with the correction as stated, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. We'll now move on to item number 2, which is our municipal announcements. So, Council, does anyone have any announcements there?
I have some, and hopefully I won't step on feet of other people who might be trying to announce this too, but we actually have a lot going on in September. September 18th, that's a Saturday, from 10 to 2 at Davis Hospital, will be a Get Ready Fair. On September 15th, it is National Walk Your Child to School Day. This one's coming up a little bit later, but kind of keep in mind as you're planning menus for the month that Zupa Night at the Layton Zupa on September 28th from 4 to 9 p.m. If you go in and buy dinner and mention that you're the money for the Layton Communities That Cares, they receive 25% of the proceeds from that night. We also have on September 29th, the fire department open house. And last year we didn't get to do it. So this year it's going to be great to have that back. And you're going to talk about day of service?
Okay, so what, prior to all of that, a week from this Saturday is actually a National Day of Service Day, and it's to commemorate 9/11. But then also it's an opportunity for everyone in their community to be able to reach out and do something good in your own community. And Layton's decided to adopt that this year, and we've been working with several folks with our Interfaith Council, as well as our co-captains of our CERT program. So what I'm trying to tell you is we've identified over 42 projects in our city that will allow our residents to get out and show a little bit of love for their city. And so I'd encourage you to look on the Just Serve website for those projects. And the beauty of this is the more people we get to sign up, and depending on the project, the fact that you've actually signed up, we may be able to get some additional federal dollars reimbursed back to us for those hours. So that's not the purpose by any means. I want to state that clear. It's more about just, showing that you really care for your city. And I do appreciate all the organizing committee along with our Parks and Rec department that has put this together. And I look forward to it. And I hope that we see a lot of folks out there. Most of the projects are going to start around 7 a.m. And we'll probably wrap up around noon, but honestly, it just depends on the project. So we've tried to make it close to home, but if there's a project on that list that sounds like something you'd like to do, by all means, go ahead and go to that project. So again, it's a fun day to just kind of show respect and honor to the 9/11 holiday as well as your own community. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, Mayor, I have one. Tomorrow we have a municipal event in that it's Council Member Dave Thomas's birthday. And the mayor and I especially remember how much he enjoyed the Christmas cookies, so we've got a... There you go, Dave.
Come Christmas. It's empty.
You ate them all that night?
I thought I did. This is worse than not cucumbers. What's the other one?
I don't
Zucchini.
know.
Yeah. Somebody will get it back at Christmas.
Yeah. That was good. Okay. Any other events? Okay, then we'll go ahead and move on then. We do not have any verbal petitions tonight, so I'm going to bypass that and we'll drop down to our citizens' comment portion of our meeting. This portion of the meeting, obviously, is where citizens are welcome to stand up and, go ahead and let us know in their comments. We do ask that on the comments, if you're part of a large group, hopefully you've got a representative available that could speak on behalf of all of you. If that's the case, I'd certainly give them more time. Typically, we like to keep the comments around 3 minutes, but at the same time, I don't want to cut anybody short. However, if you do hear a comment that's already been made, we ask that you don't repeat it because, we will. I've watched our council members here, and they do take notes, and they're very well of everything. And so I just want that to be known. And certainly at this time, I want to go ahead and open it up for any type of public comments.
Hello, Mayor and council members. Can you hear me? Brad Richens, 1902 East, 2125 North, Layton, Utah. Concerning the Concerned Citizens Organization with the Cedarwood Apartment Mobile Home Park. Council, today my comments have changed. The nature of the comments have changed, in that Louise received a text from the city, from the mayor, that there will be a work meeting on September 15th. And we really appreciate that. That's going to shorten this meeting quite a bit. We'll go ahead and leave some of the comments, a lot of the comments, to the work meeting. And I think today we'll see mostly the residents of the citizens, the residents of the Cedarwood Mobile Home Park, share some of their concerns, share some of their experiences and what have you. And so that the work meeting, we can address some issues. I do want to say that I applaud the city council for doing that, and the mayor. We really appreciate that. Secondly, I'd like to say that according to the 2016 legislative RDA restructuring amendments, one of those subsections talks specifically about mobile home resident relocation and the accounts that are set aside for this. So basically, we know, and we'll bring that up at the work meeting, there's a puzzling look. We know that the city has the authority to be able to fund this relocation process. We know that happens. We can do bonds, you can do budgets, other things, and that's your department. But I also know that the Layton City Forward Project Plan specifically states that the owner has the responsibility to relocate these residents. And we understand that. That was put in the plan. And we don't dispute that. So the mayor has alluded to that. We have two private organizations. We have us as citizens, and we also have Winkle, the owner. However, if you look at that relocation plan, directly underneath it, it states that it can be appealed at any time. We admonish the council to deliberate about appealing that project plan so that we can get some funding for these dislocated by the population. Again, we specifically applaud that. As far as Winkle, Mr. Winkle, he's an intricate part of the redevelopment process. We understand this has been going on since 2004. We feel the lack of taxes that are being paid. We understand this. We feel, some of us, the problems that we've had. However, and we can speak with Mr. Winkle. We'd like to hear his plan, the relocation strategy and his plan at the work meeting. We're really excited. He's been a ghost. We reached out many times with no communication. One thing I will say is we understand that there's no government agency to enforce any requirements or any guidelines for the relocation process. And so we can make a difference, guys. I believe there is a positive resolution. You may hear a little bit of frustration, but there is. We see in this country the left going left and the right going left, or right going right, but not in Utah. I know that we can come together with some resolutions. We have some creative ideas that we'd like to present the plan. So today, this is not a debate about population displacement. We just want to give these citizens the opportunity to be heard, and so I'll cut my comments short. I know there's a lot of them that would like to talk, and we would just admonish. We requested a translator. A translator was denied. Not denied, but it wasn't in the whatever it was. We requested a translator, but we do have a translator, and that's no problem at all. We understand. So having said that, I think Louise may want to say a little bit, but I would admonish as well the comments, as the mayor has said. If you hear the same thing happening over and over again, you may want to keep the comments to a minimum. And also, I just love the candidates, you guys. Those 4 candidates that we've reached out to, all 4 of them have been awesome in wanting to open the debate and the dialogue on as to how to solve the problems. And they're just great quality candidates. I'm glad that, So having said that, I guess Louise may want to say something, and then Mayor, you can kind of administrate over them coming up, and it's just their time to share.
Okay, I got to mention one thing. I failed to say that when you come to the podium, make sure you did state your name and location, but for anyone else coming up, I know I failed to mention that, so please do so.
Yeah, para que cuando venga tiene que decir su dirección y su número completo, ¿ok? Okay. Okay, the translator and anybody I can translate to. So anybody, you guys are up.
Or you can jump up.
I miss the days when all we did was carry a comb in our pocket, you know. Mayor and members of the council and staff and folks in the community. I'm Dennis Howland. I am a Marine that served in Vietnam. I'm a state president, Vietnam Vets of America, and I'm one of the national directors. But more than that, I'm one of the proud partners that joined with you and brought the replica of the Vietnam Memorial Wall to Commons Park. And we thank you for that. Tonight, I'm serving as the chair of the Veterans Parade that is scheduled for November 13th here in Layton. It's something we take a lot of tremendous pride in. When we brought it to Layton, we found that we had finally brought it to a new home, and the reception has been incredible. It's a time that we can join with the community and honor all of our veterans who have served in the past and who still serve today. With as much military around us, it's important that we do this. So this year we've decided the Grand Marshals will be all those who returned from the Afghanistan war. We've invited them out of Hill, out of the National Guard, different units in the area in Utah. But we've also invited them to come as a unit or to come with their families and walk in that parade with their families so that we can honor the support that their families gave them while they spent the last 20 years fighting war. As a Vietnam vet, we can relate to that. Ours took 19 years, 6 months, and 2 weeks, and theirs took 20, so we're pretty close. So I'm here this evening to invite you to join us in the parade. It's on November 13th. The lineup is at 9:30 at Gentile and Talbot. The entire community would love for you to come out. The parade starts at 11 a.m. It ends at the wall. And there'll be an honors ceremony that the one Layton City does annually that we'll participate in. A couple of things we're going to do different is there's a couple of new monuments, small monuments being built in the park. One is a bronze battle cross that honors all of our fallen from the beginning of this country to now. And the other is a memorial. When we were raising money for the wall, people would come to us and they'd tell us that their father or brother had taken his own life after coming home from Vietnam. Other people came and said, you know, my dad passed away, he had prostate cancer from Agent Orange. Are they going to be on the wall? And of course, our answer was no. Those 58,317 kids were killed in combat. So what we did was we were putting a plaque in that's dedicated to the memory of all the men and women who've lost their lives since coming home due to their service in Vietnam. That will be dedicated that day as well. And right now it's kind of iffy. We may be dedicating a tree at that same area that Senator Stevenson is donating. And our intent is to educate children in the schools, have them write essays about democracy, patriotism, and veterans, and the winning classes will decorate that tree for the holidays each year. So that's happening. But we feel that we waited 40 years to somebody to say thank you and welcome home. The kids coming home today are our children, our grandchildren, and we're not going to let that happen to them. It's not going to happen. So we want to take this opportunity. One of the things I've done in this parade is I invited the governor to come. I will know 6 weeks out because he only scheduled 6 weeks out. But I've also asked for a proclamation to be read that day honoring all those Afghan soldiers, men and women, for their service across Utah and to honor them and their families. And so hopefully that will be taking place. And I would ask as a personal favor of the greatest partners I ever had. Several years ago, I stood in this place as Mayor Bob Stevenson then handed me a proclamation honoring Vietnam veterans. The city of Layton was the very first city in Utah that did that. And I would ask you to work on a proclamation that honors the men and women who fought for the past 20 years in Afghanistan and honor their service and welcome them home. And with that, we hope to see you all out. We love being in Layton with this wall. You're the greatest partners. Organizations are jealous of us because we have such a great partnership with you. So thank you and good night, and from Little Marine Semper Fi.
Thank you, Dennis. We really appreciate it. And anything that Dennis has his hands in, he does a top-notch job on it. So I look forward to this parade, and hopefully we'll have a lot of participants in it. So, okay. Again, this is our public meeting, so if anybody else wishes to state, want to make a comment, please do so.
Hi, my name is Mara, and I was going to talk about the situation with Cedarwood Mobile Home Park. I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of people here. As you can see, a lot of us that live here in Cedarwood Park are a little stressed and upset with the situation at hand. 14 residents have received a letter to vacate and leave Cedarwood Mobile Home Park by January of 2022. I know, like my mom and a lot of people have put a lot of work into their homes, and they're not getting compensation. They're not getting help. Families are going to be separated, so everybody is just having a hard time dealing with this. And we would appreciate your help in this to make sure that the people here have a place to go, because we don't think it's fair that they've lived here for 14, 15 years and they're told to leave with no help. There's a lot of kids, a lot of families that would have to uproot, and just, it would be really hard for them, especially it's super hard to find a place to live at the moment. It's really hard to move your mobile home. There's restrictions. Older mobile homes can't move. So we would appreciate your consideration in helping us. That would be it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, excuse my dress. I came at like the very last minute, but my name is Nina Morales, and I live at Cedarwood, number 50. This is kind of the first time that I've been like involved. Like, I've heard about everybody getting together and stuff, and I do have my concerns. I've been a single mother like most of my children's lives. I was able to purchase my trailer within 2 years, like as a rent-to-own type thing, because my credit is not very good, and then with single income, I get paid about $15 an hour, which isn't anything. Right now, I have my daughter and my 2 grandkids living with me. My trailer is paid off, and I pay a lot. And I have been a homeowner, so to say, for a year. And, that was really a milestone in my life to be able to say that. Excuse me. When I signed my lease as a homeowner with the park, I signed a 5-year lease that I would not move my mobile home within 5 years, so that they were not out any money. They hold my title for that lease. And like I said, I've been maybe a little over a year, I've been a homeowner. And now I don't know when I'm going to have to leave. And so I feel like they're breaking their side of that lease, and then without having to compensate me for anything, where am I supposed to go? There's no way I can even afford to buy a home at all. And then on my income, I can't rent anywhere to support four people. It's really a hardship on all of us. And I just wish they would have considered that before I got sold my trailer in the first place. I had no idea. I had no idea until we got those, or I heard my sister got her letter, on her door. And that was about 12 months ago that she got her letter. And, it's kind of a shocker. It's a shocker. Do I believe it? Don't I? Like, what's going on here? And I just really hope that there is some compassion in people that have limited income. I am one of the restricted trailers. I can't move mine anywhere. So I'm going to be out because it's too old. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, people. My name is Larry Pryor. I've lived in Utah now, in Layton, for almost 16 years, 1643 East, 2200 North, Layton. I'm a Vietnam vet. I came back in 68. I was in Vietnam for 67, 68. Lost a lot of friends. I know what it's like to be moved from one place to the other. And these people here, it's just not right to just tell them to pack up and get out. I just don't understand that. This is America. We don't do that to people. We find solutions and we take action and make it happen. And I know that everybody put their heads together. They can do this. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tanessa Payne. I do live in Cedarwood Mobile Home Park. And when we got this letter back in our spring newsletter, which comes out every March, I was really concerned. And I was looking into affordable housing opportunities, low-income housing agencies. And I've been looking, Layton City's been promising affordable housing. I would like to know where the affordable housing is, because right now all the low-income agencies are 2 to 3 years out. I mean, you're promising affordable housing, and the average 2-bedroom apartment costs between $1,200 to $1,500. And if you add on basic living expenses, that's way more than the majority of us make. I mean, it's you guys' responsibility to make sure your citizens are taken care of. And we just kind of feel like we're being attacked and we're not going to be getting any sort of help with those kinds of things. I mean, we see new apartment buildings going up, new townhomes going up, but they're all out of our expense range, and it's just not fair. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Renika Regis. I live in Cedarwood Mobile Home Park as well. I moved there a year ago. I bought a home a year ago. If I would have known a year ago that they were closing or told anything, I would have not moved there. I'm currently in the process of remodeling my whole home. I've spent my whole everything, all the money that I have, I've spent remodeling this home from top to bottom. I put new siding, I put new ceilings, I put new floors, made it look like a brand new 2021 mobile home. However, I was told that I would have to abandon, sell, move. There's nowhere to move. There's nowhere to go. There's no mobile home parks available, none, to move a mobile home. You all heard most of the homes cannot be moved. I would like to see help, some kind of help, compensation, or something, and just something to tide someone over that they can be able to afford a new home or something. I think that is pretty sad because the laws are, and I don't want to get into the laws because I don't really know, but I know what I read, that they do not support us. They don't have anything in place for manufactured homes. People will be what I heard, and this is just hearsay, but it's from the manager, that if you abandon your home, that it belongs to the park. I think that people are being forced to move, and then they will actually take the mobile homes and sell them or do something with them or keep them, and we'll be out. There are people that live in mobile homes that's like 1997, which is, I've seen pretty good, pretty decent. And they can't put it anywhere. And the only option is just to tear it down. You put your all into that, everything. There are people with double wide mobile homes. If they were able to move it someplace, it's almost $20,000 to move a double wide mobile home. Mm-hmm. Almost $10,000 to move a single wide mobile home. No one have the funds to just up and move. I moved here a year ago from Louisiana. I've been through Katrina. I survived. When I got here, I was practically homeless. I work, and I have a good job. I have a really good job. But my plan was to, Renika, you can move in a mobile home. It's affordable. I can save. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do. Also, our rent was raised in the process of all of this. So how are we supposed to save anything if our rent is raised, at the last minute? And then even though I didn't get a notice yet, but I know it's coming. I know it's coming, and I am preparing. But even if I am preparing, it would never be enough to afford somewhere with the housing market the way it is right now. It's really hard. So yes, I'm asking everybody to just have some compassion, make some changes, do something for us and help us. We are a part of here. And I do read the news. I see Afghans coming here. They're not even from here. We live here. We support the community. We do everything. These people out here bring money into the community. They give their income back to the city. So why not help us? If you can push whoever the owner is, somebody, show them, let them know that you can't just kick people out. You raise their rent right before you give them a notice. You kicking them out on the street, and I know a lot of things, but I'll save it for another day.
Thank you.
But thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, Council, Mayor. My name is Gina Stone, 189 South Main, Cedar Woods, number 36. I have lived in my home for 10 years. It was hard times, but when I moved in, I was so proud. I am disabled. I'm on limited income. I was so proud. I made my home my home. I followed the rules, made everything beautiful, and I support. This is my community, my family, my neighbors. I don't know a lot of them. They're still my family. I'm fighting for the poor 14 that will have to maybe leave in 3 months. I would do anything to help them. Every day I wake up waiting for the notice that I'm going to get that I'm going to be evicted. And where am I going to go? I look around places to live. On disability income, I would not be able to do it alone. Roommate, I don't have family to move in with. There was an important part I wanted to make. I love my community and my family. It is very hard out there. There's 71 people families that will be displaced. Oh, I do know my point. In 2015, I remember being told that I had to sell my trailer, that there was no more rent. You had to buy or sell. No more rent. I've known of a few friends, family, community that scrambled to have to do that in 2015. I'm not sure who stayed and who left. We did our means to be able to stay into our community, our family, and our home. Borrowing from family, loans, banks. That is our asset. That is our home. To one day not be recompensated for something to walk away from, to be told you have to move and walk away without help, nothing, forced, evicted, and to turn your head and walk away for the last time and look at a home that you fought so hard for and raised a family. Look back with nothing, no help. It's fierce out there in the world. We all help each other. We don't know each other, but we will help each other.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening to me.
Hi, Council and Mayor. Thank you for listening tonight. We do appreciate it. And thank you so much for the information today for a work meeting. You're just getting a smattering tonight. That information changed what I wanted to say tonight, but I've kept a piece of my information for you because I think it's important going forward. And it's a timeline. And the timeline begins with March 19th of this year, when some of these families received their eviction notice. And at that time, they had 287 days to evict. That was in March. In April, they received a promised assistance letter, which was actually, for Mr. Winkle, that was actually a list of mobile home parks in the area with phone numbers and the names and numbers of 2 people who were interested in scalping them for their trailers for a very cheap price. That time they had 248 days to eviction. May 11th, I had a good meeting with Law and Crow, learned something about what's going on here. June 4th, bless your heart, Mayor Petro came on site and sat at Cedarwood with some of these residents and listened to the stories. And we learned more from each other on that day. At that point, 211 days to eviction. July 6th, our representative Steve Handy arranged a meeting with myself, Mr. Gary Crane, Mr. Lon Crowell, and we learned more. Each of these times there's been conversation about what to do, but I have to say to this point, there's nothing yet. I'm hoping. August 5th, I requested a work meeting. Nothing came of that, so I stood here two weeks ago, and at that time there were 149 days to eviction. 2 weeks ago, at 135 days to eviction, which is more than half the time lost, I stood here and asked for a work meeting from y'all. And I appreciate that is going to happen now. And it gives me some hope for these people. That it was 135 days to eviction. Tonight, as these people are speaking to you, be aware that they're down to 121 days to eviction. And by the time they have that meeting with you, they will be down to 108. So they've gone from 287 days to 108 days, and they still have nothing. The one thing that they're asking for is something that you have already committed to. I can't present it tonight because there's not time, but we have statements made by city leaders and staff to the concept that it is Mr. Winkle's responsibility to relocate these residents. And I don't have time to share those tonight with you, but I will at the work meeting. Emails and conversations, I will be sharing that at the work meeting. But the bottom line is that they're not asking you for anything new. They're asking you to simply do what you said you would do, and that is to hold Mr. Winkle's feet to the flames and make sure that he is the one who helps these people and helps them so that as they relocate, they stay financially safe and whole. And do it soon, please, because as you can see, as I presented tonight, their time is running out. I am gratified to know these people. I hope you get to know them. And I hope that you realize the importance of your support, your compassion, and your advocacy for them, because without you, they will be on the street. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Good night. My name is Adriana Garcia. My address is 189 Sur Main Street. Sorry, a little speak English. I need help. Okay. Tengo 13 años viviendo ahí.
I have lived there for 13 years.
Tengo 4 hijos.
I have 4 kids.
2 universitarios.
2 are going to college.
A nosotros, a mi esposo y a mí, se nos haría difícil ahorita movernos.
For my husband and for me, it's very difficult
Mi hijo es el
to
último
move right
año
now.
de universidad.
It's the last year of university of our son.
Mi esposo y yo somos los que le estamos ayudando.
And my husband and I are the ones that are paying and helping him with everything.
Mis hijos se transportan a la Universidad de Utah en el metro. Para ellos está muy bien ahí la ubicación.
So my children go in the train. They use the train to go to the University of Utah. So the location where we live is very good because the train station is there.
Las casas están muy caras.
The houses are very expensive.
Para poder movernos.
We don't have the resources to move right now.
Nos va a ser muy imposible. Mis hijos quieren seguir estudiando.
Our children want to keep on studying, and it's almost impossible for us to move.
Pues no sé qué solución ustedes nos darían. Yo les pido que se pongan en la situación de nosotros.
I don't know what solution you could give us, but I do ask you that please step into our feet and feel what we are feeling.
No sé, como yo, hay muchas familias también con hijos que quieren seguir estudiando. Entonces quiero que ustedes se pongan en lugar de nosotros, que no estamos como en la situación de tener trabajo, tenemos, le echamos ganas, pero no nos alcanza para una casa.
So we, as my husband and me and my children, are many families that we do work and we work hard, but it's not enough to move and to find a new place and to buy a new home. And our children want to keep on studying, and we really want to support them with that. So please take this into consideration.
Por favor, necesitamos su ayuda, especial para mí. Mi hijo es el último año de universidad. Entonces, yo quiero que nos ayuden para poder quedarnos todavía ahí. Mi esposo y yo le hemos invertido muchísimo dinero a nuestra trailita.
My husband and I have invested a lot of money in our small trailer, and we really want our son to be able to finish his university year and to be able to live there for as long as we can.
Okay. Es todo. Gracias.
That's all. Thank you very much.
Buenas tardes. Mi
Good
nombre es
afternoon.
Gabriel Mondragón.
My name is su nombre.
Gabriel Mondragón. Tengo 13 años viviendo aquí en en Layton, en este parque.
I've lived for 13 years in this park.
Nosotros necesitamos que nos den tranquilidad. El año pasado estuvimos tranquilos. A partir del año que estuvo, no nos dieron ya más tranquilidad.
We need to be in peace. We need a peaceful mind. We had been in peace until
we received this notice and now we don't feel peace anymore.
El año pasado, la mayoría de los vecinos invirtieron dinero en sus casas.
Last year, most of the neighbors invested money in their houses.
En mi persona, yo invertí $15,000.
I invested $15,000.
Porque son casas pequeñas.
Because it's a small house.
Pero queremos estar como familia.
But we want to live in them happily with our family.
No nos alcanza para comprar casas grandes.
We don't have enough money to buy big homes.
Ahorita con esto del COVID es muy difícil, el trabajo está bajo.
And now with COVID, employment is very hard, very difficult. We have less income.
Queremos estar tranquilos, no queremos que nos arranquen de aquí. Y si nos van a hacer eso, necesitamos que ustedes nos apoyen y nos den una solución.
So we want to live here in peace, or if we necessarily have to leave, we would like you to give us a solution and to help us out.
Gracias.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I think, one more. Go ahead.
All right, I wanted the Cedar community to be able to talk all at one time so that they weren't interrupted with other people. But my name's Robin Waters, 98 South, 2200 West in Layton, Utah. And we are just south of the Bayview Hospital at 2215 West Gentile Street. We've been fighting the dog barking for quite some time, and we're asking for Layton City's help on that. I was here 2 weeks ago, as well as some of the others here from Cedarwood. And I want to thank Layton City for what you've done. It's not peaceful to live in our home anymore. We've lived there for 22 years. And I really loved where I lived, and I don't anymore. It's very stressful. It's causing financial, emotional, and physical stress. But I want to thank you for what was done. Friday, 2 weeks ago, Mr. Tad Wilkinson was at our home. I noticed the animal control was there. And interestingly enough, when those things happen, the dogs don't bark. So we have not heard barking for 13 days now, other than last Sunday. We did hear some barking. And Saturdays and Sundays are always worse. I freak out almost every weekend when I'm home and not away, knowing what kind of stress it's going to put on our family. And so I just want to say thank you, because your efforts do make a difference with them controlling the information around the community. I wish I had a community that I could stand up to and we could fight this together like Cedarwood does. Unfortunately, my neighbors are the sons and daughters of the clinic. So that does not help matters very much. But so the conditional use permit says, and I've got just excerpts of that. The building will be a one-story room surgery, officials recovery for the animals as a primary use. An indoor kennel area will be provided for overnight boarding and extended care for the animals as an accessory use. An accessory use to me is defined as like a piece of clothing or something that you wear occasionally. It's not intended to be something that you have as a primary use. Accessory use is also defined as a use customarily incidental and subordinate to the principal use and located on the same lot as the principal use. It's incidental and occasional. It's not part of the primary use of boarding the animals 24/7. Sometimes that's not necessary in itself, but it does as it's a convenience, not an everyday thing, such as a piece of clothing, sunglasses, or a necklace of some sort that you would wear. Ordinance number 19.14.080, determination and considerations, states that the Land Use Authority may allow a conditional use to be located in the zoning district in which the particular use is allowed as a conditional use by this title. In authorizing any conditional use, the Land Use Authority shall impose such requirements and conditions to mitigate the reasonable anticipation determined effects of the proposed use in accordance with the applicable standards provided in this chapter or elsewhere in this title, necessary for protection of adjacent properties and the public welfare. An application for the conditional use shall establish that the proposed use, and then it states, at the specific location is in harmony with the general intent and purpose of Layton City general plans and applicable zoning district regulations. It is necessary or desirable to provide a service or facility which contributes to the general well-being of the community and the neighborhood. Such use will not, and I repeat, will not, under the circumstance of the particular case, be detrimental to the health, safety, or general welfare of persons residing or working in the vicinity, or injuries to property or improvements in the vicinity, and conditions imposed by the Land Use Authority shall be based upon options described in this chapter, as are any special conditions or requirements as may be specified elsewhere in this title. It is causing emotional stress. It is causing physical problems and everything that goes along with that. I've lost time off of work to help care for my husband when he is triggered by the dogs barking. That was last Thursday. I lost a half a day's of work and 45 minutes of overtime just to be out there to try to get him to be able to breathe. And the answer to that is not to just pick up and leave my home that I've lived in for 21 years so that they can have their commercial building there, and I have to leave my home to have peace. Ordinance number 19.14.104, all buildings and rooms used for boarding shall be enhanced with building materials, including sufficient insulation and gloss thickness to dampen or eliminate noises associated with the animals being boarded within. The sound attenuation of these buildings and rooms shall be sufficient to eliminate noises associated with boarding animals from inside any occupied residential or commercial building. Outdoor animal enclosures, exercise yards, and runs will be located at least 75 feet from any residential use and from existing commercial outdoor patio areas, such as venues of entertainment. We can hear these dogs barking on the inside of the building. There is not sufficient enough insulation in that building to accommodate the noises coming from inside when they are boarding those animals. And we continue to ask for your support in this. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Or Robin.
Tom Tudor, 1757 Gregory, Layton, Utah. I want to make sure that a lot of the people in Layton City know what is going on, because I sure do. I was a Layton City police officer for 20 years and then a detective. I graduated from Weber State University police science courses. And I took care of many thousands of people in Layton City from 1970 to 1984. And now I am retired. I had 3 daughters that graduated from Layton Senior High School. And I know, because back in those days, I made only a low salary in the 1970s for official police officers. So I'm for the people. I have taken people that have had too much drink, not arrest them, but take them, open up the door, the family's gone. I take him up, lay him on the couch, take his shoes off, take his car keys and throw them in his shoes, and go back on patrol. That was in the good 1970s. And now things have changed and changed. So I would suggest that if you want to make somebody on a committee and invite me, I can tell you everything about Layton City, even when that was the Ken's Cafe down there, when us police officers had the Kins Cafe, and I met people in the mobile home park there that I helped many hundreds of times. I don't get to know you because there's such a revolution of going over, but I sure do like the people and the problems to be solved. And I'm not a lawyer, but I'm the best cop that you'll ever talk to. So I came here, you know, I was in the United States Air Force for 20 years.
Hey, Tommy.
And I was in Layton City Police for 20 years. And I worked at the Veterans Administration Hospital for 15 years, taking care of all our soldiers, because I was 3 years in the United States Army and 17 years in the United States Air Force. Now that helps you know a little about me as a helper. I help people. I don't care who you are. Okay? So just like Brad here, he's helping. And anybody else wants to need some help, I got a lot of connections in this city. I now know about 35,000 people.
Hello, Mr. Tudor.
Yes, done?
Do you have a specific point other than to let these folks know that you're willing to help them?
Yeah, on the residents down there, I was probably the very first policeman to go down there and meet all the people in that park.
Okay.
I know every rock and stone in that park. And I helped a lot of people before, all of these people before. Okay. So I just wanted to know that you have a helper available. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Travis Christensen. I live at 106 Flint Street. Starting on July 1st, we noticed water was coming in our basement. And being in the construction industry since 2002, it took me a few weeks, but we started realizing there's in direct correlation with the irrigation on the corner of Gentile and Flint Street. We documented it every time it would happen since July 1st. We have pictures, document dates, and can show a direct correlation. Even with the rainstorms, didn't affect the flooding in our basement. But every time that they were watering their landscape, we were getting directly flooded. We live 5 houses down, and we're still seeing direct effects. The day if they water on a Thursday, we get flooded on a Thursday. They dry up Friday, we dry up Friday. We even had a neighbor 2 houses down at 126 Flint Street that noticed the same problem 3 years ago, and it got so bad for them that they actually moved because they got tired of dealing with the flooding. And I've contacted the irrigation companies. I've contacted the parties involved. I just want to state for the record, too, have no ill will towards the neighbors. They are wonderful people. But when it comes to this, everyone's attitude is it hits underground. It's groundwater. There's nothing we can do. This year, with facing the worst drought conditions we've ever faced, maybe ever, or at least in recent time, I believe it's more important than ever to find out the solution. This year, or today alone, we spent $1,300 trying to alleviate the problem. I'm hoping it'll work. But if it doesn't, the water's still going to be an issue. The house 2 houses down still has a pump that runs 5 or 6 times a day to get rid of that water. I was just trying to get some support from the council to at least try to find some sort of compromise, resolve something to help with our water conditions. It's a sensitive subject for me. I care deeply about our conservation. I'm on the International Association of Plumbing and Mechanical Officials committee. I'm also on the Cross Connection Committee for the state of Utah. I'm building inspector for Salt Lake City for the last 8 years. And so I have just always been trying to help with water conservation. I'm hoping this is the last of our troubles for this year, but just want to make the committee aware of the issue and just hoping to get some support and help on it. Thank you.
Mr. Christensen, can you
Yes.
make sure you give us your phone number so that we can kind of reach
Okay.
back out to you?
Sure.
You can-
And I
you
also
can
have
give
the
it to Kim.
records if any of the council would also like pictures or the dates as well.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, I'd like to go ahead and, okay.
602.
Buenas noches ya.
Good evening.
Mi nombre es Jorge Zavala, vivo en la traila 58.
I live in the trailer 58. My name is Jorge Zavala.
Okay. Yo les quiero pedir a ustedes que por favor nos ayuden, porque nosotros tenemos hijos, son nacidos aquí americanos. Probablemente uno de ellos pueda estar en su lugar en el futuro.
I want to ask you to please help us because we have children. They are born here in the United States, and maybe in the future one of them could be here in the city council, sitting in one of your places too.
Okay. Nosotros estamos viviendo con mucho estrés desde la pandemia y ahora con esto que está pasando es muy difícil para nosotros levantarnos cada día.
We have been living with a lot of stress because of the pandemic and also now because of the eviction. So it has been very hard for us to deal with the stress.
Y saber que vamos a perder nuestro hogar.
Knowing that we're going to lose our homes.
Y esto me parece muy injusto.
I feel this is very unfair.
Porque van a tener algún proyecto para hacer allí.
Because probably they're going to have a project to do in that place.
Lo cual es bonito para la ciudad.
And that's good for the city.
Pero es terrible para nosotros porque no tenemos un lugar a donde ir.
But it's terrible for us because we don't have another place to go to.
Les pido a ustedes que entiendan, que se pongan en sus zapatos.
So I ask you to please understand this and to try to feel what we're feeling.
Yo sé que los derechos ahorita favorecen al dueño.
I know that the owner has his rights and probably that's what's favoring him.
Y los únicos que nos pueden ayudar son ustedes.
So the only people that can help us are you.
Y tengo muchas cosas que decir, pero me gana la emoción. Estoy triste, no sé, tengo estrés.
I have so many things to tell you, but the emotions are so overwhelming. I'm sad, I'm very stressed.
Y solamente le pido a Dios que les ilumine el corazón para que nos ayuden.
So I ask God that He brightens your soul and your heart so you can help us.
Eso es todo lo que tengo que decir. Muchas gracias.
That's all that I have to say. Thank you very much.
Gracias.
Okay. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. And certainly I want you to know that we've heard your comments. And I think we've shown that we do actively want to see what we can do. Obviously, you've known what our comments up till this point are, but certainly the fact that we've arranged for a meeting, that I think you see that we will do what we can within our guidelines. So with that, Council, I think if we could, let's go ahead and move on unless anyone would like to make a quick comment. Okay. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and move on then to our consent items, which is item number 5 on our agenda item. This item will be presented by our Layton City Attorney, Mr. Gary Crane, regarding a water exchange agreement.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. This resolution 21-40, is a resolution authorizing the exchange of water. Kaysville has some water shares that are Kays Creek water shares, and we have some water shares that have been dedicated to the city that are Kaysville, which is a different entity altogether that we can't use. And so the two of us would like to exchange those shares, and the law allows us to be able to do that. And so this agreement allows us to exchange shares with another city, is what it does.
Okay.
So the packet said Holmes Creek, not Kays Creek.
Oh, Holmes Creek. I'm sorry. I got Kays Creek on the mind. All right.
Yeah.
That's all we've been talking for the last several months. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good clarification. Okay, Council, do you have any questions regarding our consent item here? Okay.
Straight trade.
That's correct.
Nothing gained, nothing lost.
Nothing gained, nothing lost. The same amount of water for the same amount of water.
Okay, so it's water to water. Okay.
Okay.
It's a good question. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And I think that this shows that obviously, we're constantly looking for better ways to kind of make sure we secure our water going forward. So, I mean, if this is usable water on behalf of the city, this exchange allows us to use it versus non-usable water. So, again, very good. Okay, with that, council, I'll look for, I guess, an action regarding our single consent item.
Mayor, I'll make the motion that we adopt Resolution 2140, the exchange of the water.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Sorry.
It's been moved and second. All in favor of item A, exchange, our water exchange agreement, Resolution 20-40, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, let's go ahead and move on then to our public hearing portion of our meeting. This is going to be this is amend our adopted budget for fiscal year 21-2022, and Mr. Probert's going to go ahead and present those items to us.
Mayor, members of the council, I bring to you tonight ordinance 21-24 to amend the budget for fiscal year 21-22. In those amendments, there are a few different areas that are addressed.
Hey, Tracy, hang on one second. Excuse me, those folks that are still in the audience, if you're having any conversations, would you mind taking them out into the hallway so that we can go ahead and conduct business? We'll give you a couple of minutes. Go ahead and, if you wish to leave, go ahead. But, we just want to make sure we can kind of hear the presentation ourselves. So. True. Yeah, I don't want to offend them anymore. Okay, thank you.
We
Go
good?
ahead and proceed, yes.
You hear me a little better now?
Yes, thank you.
In those amendments, there are a couple of areas to address. Due to rapidly increasing wages throughout the state, it was proposed to increase personnel wages at this time and benefits for city employees in order to keep us competitive and also stay in line with the current salary survey that we use when we survey a number of the cities across the state. Those numbers are presented, as well as there was a contract or a proposal issued for replacement of the bubble air heater and inflator at the pool. And there needs to be an addition of $33,247 to that contract. That was the lowest bid that came in when it was finally sent out for bid. That's part of the amendments. The Davis Metro Narcotics Strike Force, that budget's being decreased by $1,318. The amount that they had requested was, the amount they received was lower than what they had requested. There's also an amount to recognize program income from the Community Development Block Grant Fund for $2,000. And in the swimming pool fund, to recognize the amount that's needed for the bubble air heater and inflator is being transferred from the general fund. And so we need to recognize that transfer from the general fund and appropriate those funds for the heater inflator system. Are there any questions related to the amendments?
Yeah, I have one. And that is I understand the personnel wages. What impact does that do on the benefits? Why are we having to ask for money for benefits? I thought it was just a wage increase.
So when you increase the wages, most of the benefits are a multiplier of the wage amount.
Okay.
So if you're making more, then your Social Security goes up, your Medicare goes up. Trying to think of the other ones that go up that are multipliers of that, but basically all of them except for health insurance, that's the only one that stays stable. The rest are all a factor of the amount of the wages.
Okay, thank you.
I got a question, Tracy, on the wages too. When we were we discussed this a few weeks back in the meetings we had with Alex and them. That number was, if I recall, bigger by a couple 100,000. Is that correct? And why is it smaller now?
Yes, that is correct, Councilmember, and that's a great question. That number that we showed before was an annual number. We're just looking at those costs for the entire year. We're 2 months into the year currently, so we went in and refined that and whittled it down and looked at every individual position, and it took into account the timing of it, and that was able to bring those numbers down by the couple $100,000 you've referenced.
So the percentages of the numbers discussed then are the same?
Yes. They'll just apply not for an entire year, for an increment of that.
Any other questions?
A question, more of a statement. What we're doing here is we're helping the police department. Is that not? I mean, that's what we're discussing here. Is
that's a large portion of the funding, and then also a cost of living increase for all employees.
We're trying to make sure that we have a competent professional and trained staff here in Layton City to be able to take care of our needs. And so I applaud Chief Swanson, the city administration, for looking beyond what's going on right now. We were in competition with all the police departments in the valley, and I think most municipalities are doing this right now. Up and down the Wasatch Front. This is not unique to Layton City. But I want to make sure that the tradition's still here, that we have these good people. We're able to keep them. We're able to recruit good officers to take care of us. And so I once again, Alex and Chief Swanson, I applaud your efforts here to take care of the police department at this time, and I'll be voting for this. So thank you.
Okay.
I just make one last comment in relation to that, Clint. It is not just the police department. By and far, the majority of the money is, but is also a benefit to the other employees as well.
Oh yeah. No, and we've been.
I just don't want it lost in that it's just all police. That's all.
Sure.
Get that impression.
Sure.
I know that's not what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that. The lion's share is for the police. I understand that, and the other city employees. This has been a difficult year for them as well during the pandemic. To the cities, we're here because of city services. That's what we do. We deliver essential city services, and we can't lose sight of that. And so, yeah, we're taking care of the employees of the city so that we're able to deliver city services. That's what we do. So
and retain who we have.
And we're fighting, just like in the private sector, we're fighting for people, contractors, people who know how to do things. And we here the last meeting we had the anniversaries for employees that have been here for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and this room was full of not just those employees but their coworkers and their families, and that's the tradition. We've got to keep those sorts of people here, and you can't do it if you're not competitive. And so, thank you.
And Councilmember Morris, I did not want it implied that you were saying any different. The other just hadn't been mentioned, so I'm just trying to bring that out as well as all.
Okay.
Yeah, we all.
Go
Councilman Thomas. Tom's over there. City's made of great people. There's no question. To keep them here, we try the best we can. Some of them won't leave no matter what. Some of them will be just because it's the nature of the business. Having been involved a little bit with them, they're just good people all around. We've got great leadership, and I don't mean me, and I don't mean to imply the councils, even though they're great people. But no, we've got great leadership within the city, and that in and of itself has created a city of workers, and they're proud of what they do. And I think that's To me, that's what makes me feel good. They're proud because of the way our city's ran, the things that happened in our city. And hopefully this is a step forward. I don't mean hopefully, it is. And but hopefully we can continue to keep that atmosphere, like Clint said, that this is a family and not just a bunch of workers. So anyway.
Well, and I just want to share, I'm going to steal from Councilman Bloxham, as we had the employee appreciation luncheon yesterday. We sat and got to see who all the employees are. And like Councilman Bloxham said, our city employees are a community within themselves, over 300 or whatever. It's another community within our city. We have employees that do all kinds of stuff. And so, yeah, we do need to take care of them. And I hope that the citizens aren't upset that we're doing this. We've got to stay competitive. We've got to make it so that we don't lose them to, fast food that's paying $20 an hour for, where we don't pay that for some of our technical people. We've got to stay with the market. Even though we're a city, we're still a business, and we've got to do this. And so, again, what Councilman Morris said, thank you to Alex, and thanks to the chief and Steve Garside and whoever else was all involved in the decision that we need to move forward with this. So.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Anybody else?
Councilman Day.
I would just add for the record that this was really brought on by the police department and the competition and the problems that are there. I think all of us recognize the atmosphere that the police are under in today's world, the funding and so forth. I'm all for supporting the police department and what they need. I no question about it. At first, I thought it was a little inappropriate to try to tack on a raise for the others, and I expressed that in the meetings with Alex and them that day because we had already gone through that. However, I'm willing to accept that and make a motion to accept ordinance 2124 as it is.
You want to? This is a public meeting. Do you want to open a public meeting? No, that's
yeah,
go
sure.
ahead.
I thought sorry.
Okay.
I'll open the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Okay, once again, this is a public hearing, so anyone who wishes to speak on this singular item, then you're more than welcome to. Please step up to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Okay, seeing that there's no comments, I'll go ahead and proceed then. So, Councilman Day, if you wish to close the public hearing and make a motion, I'd accept.
Sorry to get ahead of myself earlier. I'll make the motion to close the public hearing and pass ordinance 2124.
And I'll second that.
Very good. It's been moved in second. Since this is a public hearing and also an item dealing with funding, I will take a roll call vote on this. So I'll start out with our birthday boy, Mr. Dave Thomas.
Yes, very
Councilman
strongly.
Thomas. Okay. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilperson Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Okay. Councilman Bloxham.
Aye.
Councilman Day.
Yes.
Okay, there you have it. It's unanimous, and I think everyone spoke in all the right reasons as why this is necessary, and the fact that this is a matter of being competitive, but yet also showing our appreciation that we do want to retain the talent that we have. And I want to say thank you to all of our employees for doing a great job and keeping the city running. So, okay, council, does anybody have any unfinished business?
No, but we didn't get to discuss the rest of the budget issue in the last meeting. And I'd had a question for Tracy. Is it possible that he can answer that question for me? Okay, the question I had is as I went to recently purchase a new car, we had to drive around multiple locations to even find a new car. So my question to him specific was how is that impacting, knowing that auto sales are a huge portion of our budget, how is that impacting us because they don't have new cars to sell?
I do have a short sales tax presentation I was going to give in the other meeting. I don't know if you want me to go through that or. kind of
Council,
up to you,
I'll leave it up to you. I mean, certainly, if you're willing to stay tonight, we can do that, or we can postpone to
Okay,
the next meeting.
let me just load it up real quick.
Unanimous? You guys all agree? Go ahead and stay?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Then we do have some unfinished business, and we'll go ahead and allow Tracy to kind of present to us. You guys are just used to staying here this long, so,
What?
I says you guys just are used to having long meetings, so.
Not a long meeting. Short.
Make us miss her. And how hard it was.
The youngest person you got here is sitting right there. If he can't help you, nobody can.
Hey, we've got one out in the audience. We still have our youth council leader there.
Do we?
Yeah, one of our future leaders here.
Oh, then she can come up. She was here last time, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to miss her on the youth council there.
So while we're waiting, have you gotten any feedback on the page thing? Are you still on the wait list, or have you heard any more?
Still on the wait list. He said I'll know, and usually the end of October, the beginning of November.
Okay, fingers crossed for you.
Yeah. I was going to say, do we need to do a call campaign for you and make sure you get that? Yeah.
Okay, so just one of the slides answers the question a little bit, but to review our last year of sales tax, if you look at the left-hand side of the screen there, our actual sales tax revenue for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2020, compared to the next column, 2021, a $3.2 million increase, 19.3%. And so that's huge. If you look at it compared to budget on the other side of the page, what I had projected budget-wise following a 3-year history, 3.9 million ahead of that, so 24% ahead of what we had budgeted. We were a little bit behind on our budget projection to begin the year, but still, that's a huge year. Where does that come from? We have some major retailers in the city. Those are mostly the big box stores. They make up 16%, 3.2 million. Other retail is every other little business in the city that some, and not some that aren't so little, make up 3 million of that, about 15%. Our car dealerships make up 15%. So if they start taking a hit, then that's a big chunk of where our money comes from. Online sales, good that came on a few years back, because that's the fourth largest category now. Good to see that. Home improvement keeps going. Construction-related costs, those are also very big. And so you could see that if home improvement, maybe not so much, because people are always doing that. But construction-related, if that was to slow down, that could, cause a little bit of a hole. And then we go down from there. I don't need to read the entire list. And I'll send these over to you guys so you can look at them in more detail. But it just gives you an idea of the categories. You can see where we are this year, the red line compared to prior years. And each of these spikes, I've mentioned this before, but that's the end of a quarter. So a lot of businesses only report quarterly. And so we're not really that up and down as far as sales go. It's just when we collect it. Car dealerships, this would answer Don's question. So from April, May, June, and now we have July and August. We just don't know the numbers yet, but the inventory hasn't got any better. And so I would suspect that number keeps heading in a downward direction. So where typically, if you look at all those other years that I compare, except for the green, where we went up in 2020, like I kind of joked around about that everybody got their stimulus check and went out and bought a new car or a new or used car. Most of the time, we're pretty flat from month to month, even over all the years. So we are in a unique situation. Maybe we're just coming back down, but I think a lot of it has to do with that inventory just not being available. I've talked to lots and lots of people that are out looking. There's just nothing to buy, or very little. So it's something we'll keep a close eye on, and hopefully it doesn't have a real big effect in the overall picture. Fortunately, it was mentioned in a previous meeting that we're a very diversified city. We have lots of areas to help support all of our efforts, and so hopefully it won't have too big of an effect. You can see our major retailers. I mean, a lot of this gap and a lot of these numbers, and even the 20% increase at first thought to be, a bunch of people going out and buying and things are still going really good. But you've also noticed a lot of that is inflationary. And so as the price of things go up, it helps us because we collect more money. But at the same time, we just passed a budget amendment because the price of everything's going up, right? Including the cost to maintain our employees. So it affects us on both sides of the scale. Some of this difference between the red and the other lines, it's not all, because I can't really say that, but, we added one big major retailer in it, and they're living up to their promises. They're providing a good boost for our economy. We can look at some of these just, as you compare other years, the major retailers, the car dealerships, everything, obviously, if you go up 20%, everything's going to be up. So it doesn't really, it's not really anything new. But I'll send that's what I had. I'll send them over to you guys so you can look at them in more detail. Any questions on that?
No, but thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Now it's on. With everything going up, we'll have residents asking us or asking us, hey, our property taxes are not going to go up because our home prices or home values are going up. And that's not how it works.
Right.
In fact, your actual percentage is going to be going down.
Yeah.
We only get the same amount of money of the previous year plus new growth. It doesn't grow with inflation. It doesn't grow with the cost of the homes.
Right.
It's based on the amount previous. And so if we were to, as in we've done this, if we were to wanting to increase the property tax for whatever reason, we've done it in the past, that has to go through truth and taxation like we did with the paramedics. And so just to education, this is great because the sales tax revenue is lifeblood. The other part of the revenue is the property tax, and that's going to be actually going down. So
the rate will go down. The amount of revenue we collect will stay even, right? Unless you as a council intentionally increase that through truth and taxation. Some of the other areas, it's kind of good news for RAMP because they had a similar picture, right? You've 20% increase almost in what RAMP's going to have available to do projects throughout the community. So that's good news. The Proposition 1 tax, same type of thing. That's the transit tax, the transportation tax, and we use that on, trails and streets and all that kind of stuff. So all of those were in an upward direction. The hotel tax was rebounding. You remember it went to zero for a few months. And so it's not back to where it was, but it is, it's rebounding back up pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for staying and presenting that, by the way. Okay, anything else, council? Okay, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, thank you very much.
Second, third, fourth.
And thank you all for staying. I want to note that all 4 candidates running for these 2 open seats stayed and endured till the end. So now you got a good glimpse of what it's like
and
here.
And the term is endure. No.